of Alumni Live. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michele Terpstra. I'm from the class of 1995, Film and Video. And today we have Sara Ford from the class of 2018 and Collab, a Grand Rapids-based artist. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So they've shared directorial duties and filming duties on a music video featuring several local rap artists and musical artists, and it's called Citizen. And we're going to show you the video here in just a minute. It's about 6 minutes long, and you're going to see several familiar faces and places and name dropping. And it's a lot of fun. After the video, we will come back and talk to Collab and Sara about the project. So here we go.
He is undefeated in 4 professional bouts, 3 wins by way of knockout. Another favorite son from Grand Rapids. Here is Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather.
Off the show off at 20 Mile Road. LAB let me in the side door. Meanwhile, hit the scheme to the intersection, meet Mike G. Shadow when I seen Troy C's. On my way to Belize. AB got a show on the flow. Super Dre Jelks killing some more. Jesus, I don't really wanna have to cheese wheeze us. Omega spinning and that's too bright, guys. Bed rockin', wasting, now that's too nice, guys. I hit Metro and Creston cause kids said it. My city's the illest, I mean that for my rib section. B heights, J2s, I never forget it.
Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm on my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. On my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
So cool, sipping Moto. Black got a function jumping. I'ma run through my city the best, but that's Bill Steffens. Old news, Grand Rapper from Grand Rapids. On Pro Tools, I'm the best well since Willie the Kid. I got a show I hit then when I need local spins. Yeah, I was out of town, now I'm hoop, but I showed the drive. City on my back, I'm keeping hope alive.
I'm a Grand Rapids representative to the fullest. Southeast side where they dodging the bullets. I'm from where the best ever come from. Shoulder roll, I've been on the road and don't nobody do it like home. Hey, bring ACK back ASAP like my nigga Stu is here. Cop a souvenir, somebody tell them that the ruin here. Fix my boot in there, I'm dabber at the Grand Rapids man. Cooking, I got the spatula, GR, we make it happen, let's get it cracking.
Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm on my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. On my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Roll up in the waist of brand fitted in all black. In a city full of winners, getting money, we all that. Only rolling with the realest that don't cap. I'm a staple in my city, ask about all facts. Be consistent with these wins, you can catch me on all stages. Pyramid scheme, 20-minute roll was outrageous. Building a foundation, call it a bedrock. Getting to it like we do it to the whole city pop.
Hold up. Always knew I'd be a rapper ever since I was playing downtown up in the Mac. From Pinery to JC Park, we'll get them baskets to hit the mall after for the fashion. Woodland, then Rivertown came. I hit the intersection and was finna crowd surf on some off stage. And then I went to Stella's just to hit the arcade. I love Gumroot with every piece of heart in me. What's up? Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm on my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. On my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
From Granville to downtown market, I play the car field like Roosevelt Park. Boy, it's a party in the lodge. Camouflage the bottle so we could sit and she could feel it when we cha-cha slide to Katie's Lounge. I'ma need some hookah stopping each town. My brother Park playing home team in city love when we walk in the door. Sliding in the van, Nano to Harry's corner. I'm sure we gon' need another fifth before we hit elevation. And
I promise this soul won't be anonymous. Honest as the bond of the word teachings in Zondervan. They looked down and said our opulence was profitless. Doing more, giving scholarships from Constantix. All city Sundays out here getting lit. Dwelling from Franklin and Henry, now we in the Ritz. I'm worldwide, 14 countries deep. You can taste the feet. too. Ain't past my past, always think it's sweet.
Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm on my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. On my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
It's Big Cheetah when you know I run the room. Young niggas, certain niggas pump my butter roll. And I got that butter too, and I probably to boo. I got them pounds in, and I got them clusters too. East Town with the white, even they these out. Me and Duke on the bill, we bring the city out. I was 16, just did me, I was 40, dog. Probably the youngest with a 30 ball.
Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pick up the pen again, swinging the pendulum. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm on my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan. On my dish again, on my dish again. I'm a citizen of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
All right. Well, here we are with Collab and Sara Ford, who worked on the project. That was great. That's some real hometown pride there. So
For sure.
how can you talk about how this all came together? There's a lot of artists involved with this. So how did you come together with, you know, manage everything and shoot this all during a pandemic?
God, Sarah, and Lady Ace. Like for real, it was a lot. I had the idea probably maybe 2 years ago, and I was just going through personal and family stuff, so I took a break, and recently I wanted to get back into it, and I asked a few artists. A couple of them couldn't do it because of the pandemic or whatnot, and so the people that were on there made it, and we made it work.
So did the artists all write their own lyrics or their rhymes, or did you write those, or how did that happen?
Well, I wrote the hook and my verse, and no one else heard anyone else's verse until it was done. So they heard my verse and then the instrumental. And so from there, they all just wrote off of my verse, kind of gave them the concept, and yeah, that's how it happened.
So how did you and Sara connect?
Cause she is dope. I've seen her. I've seen some of her work, and I was like, man. I think I was telling Lady Ace, like, I gotta know who this is. I gotta talk to her. I want to see, cause it was amazing. And then I think this is our third, just doing something for the third time together, and it's just always been top notch. So
That's awesome.
that's that.
So first, let's talk a little bit about recording. What was the process like recording all of these artists?
Well, I was there for maybe a couple of them, but because of social distancing, I scheduled the appointment with 85 was here. That's the name of the producer, my producer. And he was able to, you know, work and fit people in because of him not working at the time. And so, yeah, I think 6 of the artists recorded with him, and the other 2, which will be Rebel Cusco and Jance, recorded with Replay, Ryan Payne. And so I kind of just told him I needed by this date. We were trying to stick to the schedule, and people sent it in, and we got it done.
So about the filming, you filmed some of it, and then the artist filmed some of it. Is that what happened? Can you talk a bit about that, Sara?
Yeah, for the most part. Because we were all separated, we were limited on some resources. And so Collab and I kind of just went head to head with some ideas and decided it would be a cool opportunity to let the artists themselves either record it, or Chabelino stepped in for a big part of it, as well as Collab, to film either on his phone or whatever camera they had to kind of match the quality benchmark that we had set.
So what was this quality benchmark exactly? How did you tell people this is what I want?
Yeah, so we had kind of brainstormed the idea of the end product that we were shooting for. I think that's something maybe you always start out with, even in pre-production. You kind of talk about, okay, what would we want it to look like? And we wanted it to have an old school feel. We're kind of like dipping back into the roots of people from Grand Rapids that have been well known. Some of the newscasters even, some of the old rappers, some of the old places that people used to go to that are not the same establishments now. And we just decided that, I'm sorry, I lost track there, but gets me back to speed. What was your question?
Just how you filmed so many people and your how you asked for the footage.
Yeah, so we just decided that we were going to go, oh, here we are. Yeah, we decided we were going to go with the old school film look. So in that case, it's pretty, I mean, with recent times, everybody's got a phone that can film at least 24, and if they don't, Chapolino had his phone there to film that for us.
Nice.
So we kind of just set the benchmark, hey, if you can do 24 frames per second at 1080p, at least, some of them are like 720, but a standard iPhone can film at least 1080p if you have one of the latest versions.
So did you run into technical hurdles then with people sending you footage that wasn't quite what you needed and then you worked with it anyway?
I think it was pretty smooth sailing. I think the only technical issue that I ran into was aspect ratios. So it had been kind of set with that benchmark to film horizontally, but then there were a lot of add-ins of B-roll that people shot, because that was also another thing that Collab reached out. Lady Ace reached out to her resources for all of that B-roll, those familiar faces that you see. Yeah. And they just, I think it's very easy when you have an iPhone to film vertically. And that was really the only like hurdle I kind of had to jump over, where I had to just scale in like super big for those ones, but it still fit the look, which was very like exciting for me, because it still gave it that grainy look. It still fit the whole feel of it. It wasn't something where I had to reach back out and bug these people while they're during, while during this time already and say, hey, we got to reshoot it. It just happened to just work.
That's great. That's great. Did now you edited in Premiere. You must have had just hundreds of pieces of footage. What was it like dealing with such a large number of clips? And is that something you're used to doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty used to taking a large sum of things and condensing them down. With any film editing, you might have 12 hours worth of footage for maybe a 2-minute commercial, or in this case, a 6-minute song. And we had, with reaching out to these artists, it was either they gave us one take, like one good take, to a maximum of maybe 5. So between Collab and the rest of the artists, I think Collab had maybe the most takes, because we were trying to show the most variation between each hook, because it's something that repeats over and over again throughout the song. So we wanted it to look the same, but also have several takes that we could cut back and forth from. So as far as the artist takes go, you kind of see what they gave me, which is really cool, because it offers a bigger creative eye into those artists in like a different medium. They had their lyrics. They knew how they were going to present themselves, whether their demeanor or the way that they wanted to present themselves. But it was cool to see the way that they shot it after, having the task of, hey, we're going to do this handheld, kind of do it yourself, which was cool.
So how did you achieve the grainy film look? Did you use plugins or overlays?
Those are plugins to just a subscription-based website that I use, and it's just a film grain look. A lot of them are older ones that I've used and just reused over and over again, depending on how I manipulated them. But this one ended up just being like a film grain look. We do have kind of that Super 8 feel, but again, when we first brainstormed this concept, we wanted to go for like the old school. Like, yes, we filmed on iPhones today, but we still wanted it to have the feel as if it was shot, 20, 30 years ago on some sort of camera. So that's why we have the Super 8 and that film grain look.
Yeah, it works really, really well. So Collab, does this match the vision that you had for this project?
Yes, yes. Well, anything that didn't, me and Sarah just stayed in close contact. Like I literally probably watched the video 77 times, like 2 days before it was supposed to come out, just because I was just very meticulous about things because I had been envisioning this for a few years. So basically, when it came down, I know Sarah probably was like, I'm like, Sarah, can you take this? Sarah, can you do this? And she came through in the clutch like always.
Oh, that's good. So what did you learn from making this project? Is there anything that you would have done differently now that you've been through the whole thing?
I would have got rid of quarantine and
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, we all would.
Shot it regular. Other than that, it was lit. It was fun. It was even fun just seeing how people put their verses together, and then how people sent their clips in, and then to see how Sarah um, put it in and matched it with what we talked about. Like it was so dope and just so good to finally see it come to life.
So what have you heard about the project of like what positive effects has this had?
Well, for a lot of us, it shows unity that artists can work together, especially in a time like this, with the BLM movement and everything going on. We were kind of on it before everything kind of broke loose, and so it just showed me that we can work together, we can get stuff done, whether we're in the studio together, whether we're recording it through Sarah or we're recording it. Like it just showed teamwork to get the project done.
And some serious project management skills. So, so do you have anything new in the, oh, we have a question from Facebook here. Sarah, do you have a day job? Was this project something you did on the side or because you were off due to COVID?
Yes. So I actually just freelance for a living. And luckily, some of my main projects that I was working on was this, so we could keep it smooth sailing and consistent. And some of my other clients that I work for, they also were doing things that were consistent along the way. So it was just a process of managing 3 to 4 clients over the course of the COVID, which wasn't unmanageable by any means.
Do you two have anything in the pipeline right now for the future?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do.
Anything you can talk about, or is this top secret?
I literally want Sarah to shoot all my videos forever. So yeah, we got a video coming up. I'm planning on basically dropping a video every other month, and that's how my project will drop throughout the year, every other month. And my next project is titled Depression. It's just a song about depression because we all go through it. Everyone's been through it. Everyone knows somebody that's been through it. And I have a featured artist from Duval County, Florida on there. He's a really big artist, burgeoning artist out that way on the project. So that'll be dope.
Okay, we have another question, it looks like here for Sarah. When you were at GVSU, what were you hoping to do for a job?
I think I've always just wanted to use the talents that I have for whatever God calls me to use them for. I've always kind of been spiritually based and just letting His will be done in my life. And yeah, I think freelance allows me the opportunity to really feed into the faith aspect because freelance you don't have, apart from clients that you might have, like reoccurring clients or longer projects, you have to kind of really dive deep into that understanding of like, I don't have full control, and just seeing how it goes. But I knew that I wanted to try a lot of things. And I can tell you that since 2018, I've tried a lot of things. I've said yes to a lot of things. I think one of maybe my downfalls is I don't say no enough, but it's also allowed me to really be versatile with like my understanding of things, but also how my perspective is changing because it's a very visual career to set yourself into.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another question coming in about syncing. with a music video, how do you get everybody synced up when they're in different locations?
I'm not sure if that's a question concerning the look of the video or more on the post-production side of things as far as syncing with audio. So
I'm gonna bet it's a post-production question.
Okay, yeah, so Premiere actually is real quick with that. They have added some updates that are so helpful, so efficient, and it's actually just called multi-camera editing. So you have one audio track, which in the case of a music video, you have one audio track, you line it up, and you sync it via audio of your video. And you just have them track together. They'll sync up themselves, and then you kind of weed through and edit as you go, which is cool.
It is.
Saves you a lot of time because I mean, even when I started editing, 3-4 years ago in some of these programs, it wasn't that simple. You had to take it to a third-party plugin and then bring it back into your timeline. So.
Yeah, probably the Red Giant plugin.
Yeah.
The name of it is, I can't think of it at the moment. But yeah, if you've ever had to manually sync up audio and video together, it's a nightmare. And doing that much, I can't even imagine. So let's see, do we have any other questions out there? Is there anything that you two would like to mention that we haven't asked you about?
I just want to say thanks to Sarah and Lady Ace because, oh my God, just the way, the teamwork was crazy. And with everything going on, with the vision I had, this was something that was very important to me. And just the help and just thank you. It was amazing.
That's great.
Once again.
It's always been fun with this crew of people, though. That's the thing. Is I got connected with Lady Ace, and I got connected with this whole community. This was a perfect opportunity to work with each of them, but also bring them together for a common goal, which was cool. So I've done a lot of live event coverage of these artists, and they all have a different feel. But when they came together, somehow it was just like you said before, it really spoke into unity. They were able to just pull it off. Really cool.
I guess there is another question. Here it is for Sarah. Upon graduation, how did you network?
I think the easiest way that I have been able to network is either through social media, just reaching out to those that maybe inspire me, but also locally. I think I just talk a lot. I get into, I knew I wanted to try music out first, the music scene. Once you know someone, then they're asking, then the following week, once you, put out a video of some sort. I find it that with video, you get yourself into pigeonholes, but at the same time, you can utilize that as a network opportunity. So when I went into music, obviously I was getting a lot of people hitting me up for music. And then to venture off of that, I would just reach out to local small businesses, healthcare providers, and then a fair share of just reaching out to people I knew that were already either on set or that had inspired me locally. I think just not being afraid right off the bat. You kind of have to build that self-confidence through just engaging, because the creative process looks different for everyone. Obviously, there are benchmarks that you can aim to hit, but unless you get yourself out into the field and actually experience that for yourself, you're not going to gain that self-confidence to continue the flow of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Collab, you said that you had seen Sarah's work before you contacted her. Where did you see her work? Was it just randomly on YouTube, or was it a project that you saw?
I think I was doing, I'm not sure what show it was. I don't know if it was just a show or if it was the Jammies, or I think that she had done a, I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? Like a performance video for Lady Ace. And we were in the car and I seen she emailed her a clip of it and I was like, oh my God, who is that? It was just crisp. It was different. It was creative. I didn't see that she was boxed in or it was any limits, and just that little clip. And I wanted to work with her after that for sure.
That's awesome. We've got another question here coming in. What advice do you have for young artists who are starting out? Which is a good question for both of you.
Yeah.
I'd say one, consistency. That's like the number one thing, consistency, because there's not always going to be someone who likes your music or likes what you do, and you have to know that everything is not for everybody. You make the music from your soul, how you feel, for your audience that you want, and you just basically gotta go from your heart, go from your soul, and never give up. You gotta keep going no matter what. And so it's just consistency is the thing. And the second thing is to understand that it's the music business, not just music. So depending on how far you're trying to go or what you're trying to do, you need to understand that there's certain things business wise that you have to do to even be seen or get opportunities.
That is a very good point. And Sarah, what do you think on that topic?
Yeah, for film, I personally was taught once I turned film into like a career that it was going to be cutthroat, and that's a little intimidating. So I think, again, just as Collab was saying, that consistency to know that the creative process, especially with any medium, it's a form of self-expression. So if you're not growing within yourself or you're not understanding that it's coming from you, like you can bring in inspiration from elsewhere, but if you're not solely like putting you out there, you're not going to be able to just keep growing or keep networking authentically. And I think that's something that might intimidate people or slow people down because we always want to put out the best version of ourselves. But the primary reason that we are artists is that we are able to self-express artistically, uniquely to us. And so don't be afraid. I would just say don't be afraid or hesitant to put yourself out there, because that's essentially your goal, is for people to buy into you, not to buy into your talents or what you learned last week or what you learned a year ago or where you went to college. It's you. Like it's you and the way you express yourself.
That is a very good point. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
I'll add one more thing. I'll piggyback off of what Sarah said. Networking. You have to network and you have to have a team to get stuff done, which was basically shown with this video. Like we were basically a team, all of us, and we got it done. The bigger the team is, the more solid the team is. You need teamwork to excel.
That's very true. All right. Well, I really appreciate you both coming on our first episode of Alumni Live. It's been a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. So
thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, and good luck with your future projects.
Appreciate it. Stay tuned for the six pack.
Oh, do you want to tell us about that in a minute?
Six pack, Assorted Six Pack. That's the album that it's done. I'm dropping. Depression is the next single. Go watch Citizen on YouTube. Go download Citizen on every platform, every major platform. We have the Citizen in Grand Rapids, Michigan t-shirts available on grcitizen.com. Follow Sarah, follow all the artists, follow Year 85, follow Michele Terpstra. Just follow everybody and let's keep networking.
Great. Thank you.